Alright, it's recording, Laurie.
Just talk?
Just talk, bro.
Hey, yeah, go on, you white piece of shit.
What you just heard there, folks, was a message from an individual. He's always just straight up jerk to me. Just real nasty. I suspected that it was just because this individual is anti-white. So it's just racial hatred on the basis of my race. That was my suspicion. And it's been confirmed, hasn't it, folks? Yeah, for the whole world to see. That this person simply has an issue with me, and all their issues that they have with me is just simply because I'm a white man and I don't hate myself. I'm not anti-white enough. I'm a healthy white man who loves my folk, loves my ancestors, and actually works daily in a productive manner to provide for the coming generations, the next generations of our people. As a proud white man who isn't inflicted with the psychological trauma and harm of white guilt, hating myself because I'm white, like this individual most likely does. Okay? I'm white and I'm not anti-white enough. So, anti-whites don't like that. Okay? And they'll try to attack you, talk smack, ridicule, talk you down. They'll try to lower your self-esteem and things like this through mockery and slander and childish bickering and drama and talking behind your back and stuff like that. It's all childish stuff that actual men rise above and haven't got time for, again, because we're busy doing stuff in the world. We're actually getting stuff done. Okay, we're not like running around playing like children. We haven't got time for that type of nonsense and drama. We have to actually do the real work in the world. Okay, real men and women doing real work. Okay, to make a real change, to actually provide something and contribute something to society and our communities.
Hey, yeah, go on, you white piece of shit.
Unlike folk like this individual, who instead would rather try to tear down any effort to better society, any contribution, any actual proper contribution to society, any giving back to community. He'd rather hinder that, tear it down, try to mock and ridicule those folks who are actually responsible for that, like myself. Okay? Those folks who are going free of things like white guilt. Okay, if you're a white individual and you're still inflicted with white guilt and you want to be saying sorry and you think there's something wrong with you on the basis of your race because you were brainwashed from birth to think there's something wrong with you on the basis of your race, and you have to say sorry for just being born in a certain way, just because you were born a member of the white race, you have to apologize for existing. All right, if you're still inflicted with that mental trauma, all right, through being a victim your entire life of the racial discrimination and abuse, right, the worst that any race has ever seen, that we suffer in Western nations, then, like this individual, you're not contributing anything. In fact, subconsciously, everything you do, all that you want to do, the reason why, the reason why this individual talks about me in this way and he acts towards me in this way is because he's inflicted with this psychological trauma of white guilt. He hates himself, and so he wants to try to tear down anything that's actually positive and good for our nation, for our people. Okay? And at the moment, the only things that are good and positive, that are contributing, are those things that are white positive, which aren't submitting to racial bigotry and discrimination, attacking folk, dehumanizing folk, ridiculing folk on the basis of their race. Because we are heroes of Western kind, we actually are real men and women who are actually making a real difference in the world. Even when folk like this try to talk smack and slander and whatnot, what do they achieve? Nothing. But they prove our position. They prove that we're correct. This individual, he wants to try to mock and talk me down and act like I'm not actually a hero of Western kind, a great, noble man of high character who's actually changing the world, making the world a better place for the children, actually contributing to society and the world as a whole, unlike folk like himself. He wants to try to tear that down, okay? He wants to try to either gaslight myself, other individuals potentially, into not being heroes, not actually contributing as I do, not actually making a difference as I do, or at least trying to smear our character, okay, so that he can try to make as many other people laugh about it and think that I'm not actually a hero who's going to go down in history for the work that I do. Alright? But ironically, at the end of the day, all he does is he proves that no, I actually am a hero who will likely go down in history for the work that I do. I am right, and he admits it and he exposes it with that very first statement. He only goes on to talk smack. Okay? Just verbal attacks and slander. But that opening statement really says it all. That's all we need to hear. That's all we need to know.
Hey, yeah, go on, you white piece of shit.
Everything he has to say, all his criticisms of me, are just a racial attack. They're not based in reality. They're not actually legitimate. They're not correct in any way whatsoever. They're not valid or legitimate at all. And he admits it himself in this opening statement when he makes a racial attack on me on the basis of my race.
Hey, yeah, go on, you white piece of shit.
So everything else he will ever have to say is just going to be thrown in the bin, and it doesn't mean anything to anyone. No good person will ever take him seriously because he's just exposed himself as a racial bigot, and everything he has to say about me, any criticism, is simply just a racial attack on all white people. It's not anything personal about me. He's admitted this. It's just an attack on the white race because he wants to be anti-white. So in doing this, he submits any legitimacy or validity in his statements. Anything he has to say, it's all just ignored now. It's all just, oh, you're a bigot. You're just a bigot trying to attack people on the basis of their race. Shut up, bro. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Except other weirdo bigots. Sure, laugh in your own weird little circle of, losers who want to laugh about other people on the basis of their race. But most other people in the world, we all disagree with you. We think you're freaking idiots and disgusting. Alright? And that folk like me, who work on a daily basis to oppose racial discrimination, to call out, to protect children from this type of abuse, are heroes. Okay? Doesn't matter who you are, if you're working, okay, to actually contribute to the world, to society, to protect children from abuse and molestation, psychological molestation, okay, racial discrimination, being traumatized from childhood to hate themselves and think they have to apologize because they exist, because they are white. Alright? Anyone of any race, doesn't matter who you are, if you're working to stop racial discrimination against innocent members of Western kind, you are a hero of Western kind. So even non-white people can, and there are plenty of non-white folk who do work with me, who are heroes of Western kind, good, noble people. Because this is just, it's not about who you are or what your race is, it's about, do you stand against racial discrimination or do you partake in racial discrimination? Okay? I'm on side, we stand against it, we're heroes. And that's how the world sees us. And just so you know, you can laugh as much as you want in your private little circles with your weirdo and your losers who think it's okay to discriminate on the basis of people's race. But the whole rest of the world, they're not even laughing at you. They're looking at you with disgust. Okay? And it's just up to you what category, what box you want to put yourself in. If you want to be anti-white, then you put yourself in that box where everyone in the world's going to look at you with disgust. Up to you. Or you be a hero, you be noble, you be a good individual, and everyone in the world will look at you in that manner. Again, it's up to you. But opposing a hero like myself, who simply stands against racial discrimination, the victimization of innocent children and vulnerable members of Western kind who can't protect themselves. Okay? That obviously means that you're one of the individuals who wants to partake in the victimization of those innocent, vulnerable folk. You want to harm children. You want to harm innocent, vulnerable folk. Otherwise, you'd have no opposition to somebody like myself, who simply works on a daily basis to protect the innocent, to protect the vulnerable, to protect children from racial discrimination, from anti-white bigotry. So there you go, folks. Even when these individuals try their hardest to slander and bring down our character, etc., they still only prove the fact that we are noble heroes and that nobody agrees with them and everybody agrees with us. Every good person, that is. Only other sickos that are looked at with disgust by the average person agree with them. And they just only further prove this the more they try to disagree with us or slander, etc., mock, talk down. If they just don't accept that we are heroes, the bravest, most noble people on the planet right now, all right, in this current age, in this time, the heroes of this age who will be written down in history, and there will be stories about in 100 years' time, read to the children when they go to bed, all right, the heroes of this age are folk who are advocates of white well-being, white positivity, and stand against the global anti-white system which persecutes every white person on the basis of our race, and has done for the past few hundred years. Okay? That's just the facts of the world we live in. That's what's going to be written in the history books. Again, you decide what side you want to be on, what side of the fence, what box are you going to put yourself in. Are you going to side and support heroism and protecting of innocents and children, or are you going to side with the victimization and the attack and the abuse of innocent people and children? Make up your mind. Take it easy, folks.